I'll let the room clear before you start to speak.
Please, that would be great.
Shame on you. Shame.
Mr. Irving Osiusu, you have 1 minute.
I'd like to defer my time to Tyrone Freeman.
No.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna just say this one last time. This is not an open forum. We're not here to have a dialogue. If you have a comment, please follow the rules of the commission. If you have something to say, fill out the general comment form, and we're happy to hear you then. Thank you.
So the eligibility for the further processing pursuant to section 104.06, submit the commission for approval within 7 days all of the applicants' business records and agreements necessary to demonstrate that a tier 1 and tier 2 social equity applicant is not subject to 1. Unfair and abusive financial terms. 2. Deceptive, coercive, exploitative, and unscrupulous actions, e.g. voting dissolutions of equity shares. 3. Management agreements requiring pre-selected firms with fixed fees and costs, including a failure for owners to disclose information or disclosing false information to the tier 1 or tier 2 social equity owner. And lastly, owns the minimum equity share in the applicant under section 104.2 of. This makes good sense. It's good government. It's transparency. And I want to say that one of the things that was mentioned in the report when the question was asked about predatory terms, predatory lending, predatory business practices, it was answered with, we're evaluating for equity shares. The reality, commissioners, is that we have to look for more than equity shares. You can dilute equity shares so very easy. Those of us who understand the academia perspective of business can give you 1,600 different ways to dilute 51% ability to, one, run the day-to-day operation. When the war on drugs was implemented in the community commissioners, the war on drugs was predatory. And we refused to allow a response to the war on drugs being this whole idea of social equity to be another tool used to be predatory. And we're saying to you before you actually issue a license that it exists. We can go down now and I can give you the names in this room who agreements meet every academic perspective of predatory agreements there. And I had even had, amongst the group, I have even had DCR receive emails of individuals who are applicants, who have an application number, who have a timestamp, who have said in their own determination and the determination of great legal minds in this city that it is a predatory agreement.
That's right. Yes,
some have not gotten a response. What I'm saying to you is that it exists. I can provide the factual cases. My whole goal and our whole goal is to be on the forefront of doing this right because it is setting the precedent across the country. It's not about doing it fast. Well, the department has showed us that it's not doing it fast. Matter of fact, we're doing it last. If we're going to do it last, we may as well do it right. One of the issues that we've learned from our experience, members of this honorable commission, is that when we're not transparent, when we're not coming out front, then we make a lot of mistakes. Let me tell you what it sounds like when 80 people are tier 3 under a social equity program where they did not have to meet the required tier of being either arrested, poor, living in the community. What they have the benefits of this program called social equity licenses. They didn't get in the general line to line. They got a social equity license. And guess what? They paid for the licenses. They didn't suffer the consequences, but they have licenses. They are making revenue right now and don't even qualify. And yet, you have individuals today fighting over 100 and they got 80 and they ain't even went through it. They weren't required to show that they went to school from 8th to 6th grade or 6th to 8th grade or whatever that might be in the community. They actually paid to get a license. The whole idea, Mr. Chairman, was that in LA you don't pay to get a license, you earn a license. And what we've seen right now without the transparency is that they paid for a license. Let's fix that. And I will say this, that I believe, and I do, and I don't want to put on the spot, she's got a great academic record and great work. Dr. Brown can actually work to put some preventive issues together, some mechanisms for you all to look at when you're evaluating and say, hey, if this flag is raised, let us have a discussion about it. It's not too late, Jason. It's not too late.
Right on.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
We know the old saying, right? And what's happening, commissioners, is you're making it my last run a real good one because they're organizing themselves, and I've been here before. We've made significant changes in the city. And what we want to do is cooperate and do this right. Never misunderstand. What all of the great folks in this room want to do is that they want to do it right and they want it to be fair. As my time closes, I would say this. What we haven't seen is the transparency of all the obligations that the DCR has control of. For example, right now, community phase 1 licensors were supposed to, of January 1, give us community reports so that we can know what the tax dollars were being used to the community. That was their obligation. Neighborhood councils are being fired up right now.
That's right.
And they'll be here with me next, so I'm phasing it in. They're fired up right now because they haven't gotten their community reports of transparency.
Yep.
That's in the law and it's in the ordinance, but it hasn't happened. Phase 2, yes, they have agreements, but we haven't seen what those tier 3 folks are paying. We haven't seen them qualify for it. It was determined without criteria that they qualify for tier 3.
And
But
they're not
that's what we
supporting
just heard
applicants.
today. We have no
They're not
proof that the
supporting
folks on the other 80 folks, we have no proof that they qualify under the scheme of which phase 3 folks were required to do. Because he only has the tier 3, which means they didn't even meet it. If you look at the big picture, and I will close, if you look at the big picture, Mr. Chairman and members of this commission, the people that have licenses in LA have not disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs.
That's right.
No, they have not had a cannabis arrest. They have not resided in the community. And I will tell you this, commissioners, as I always do, I have the facts. The fact is, under the Open Records Act, I want to thank the department. They've given me the record. That's what I've done. I've done a snowball sampling of the information that we got. And what I've come to conclude is that you have about 75 to 78% of license issuance in this city of nobody ownership of a license that's been impacted by the war on drugs.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman?
We have to address that.
Thank you for your time. I will call the next 5 speakers, if you could please line up. James Doherty, Brandon Brinson, Evelyn Scott, Anthony Suggs, and Cherie Franklin. Please come forward. I'll let the room clear before you start to speak.
Please, that would be great.
Shame on you. Shame on you.